I never thought I'd see the day where we'd have to go through and try to fix Pathfinder. In my opinion, he's always been one of the most fun characters, and I've never felt like he was overwhelmingly overpowered. Like, there are certain characters whose abilities are actually far superior to other characters. And while I think that Pathfinder did need a little bit of a nudge towards a nerf, maybe a 5-second decrease on his grapple, I never thought we'd see the day where my friends and I see a Pathfinder in a match and actually like crack jokes about how we thought Pathfinder was only a firing range character now. But you know that for every problem we have with a legend, we have a solution here on the Can We Fix It series. So we're going to go through and we are going to try to fix Pathfinder as best we possibly can, because he is going to need basically a rework at this point. I'm going to summarize some of the perks. I've made 2 or 3 videos in the past talking about this, so I'm not going to stress this point at all, about how Bloodhound and Crypto are going to be able to scan survey beacons pretty soon, which means that Pathfinder won't have any passive ability. So I'm assuming that when that perk system releases, we'll have a pretty decent overhaul of Pathfinder's character. We're going to talk about that a little bit more in a second, but first I just want to talk about Pathfinder's functionality in the competitive scene right now in rank, and it's basically non-existent. Now, this is a little bit of a sneak preview at my pick rate video, which is going to be coming out fairly soon. I just got all the data up and recorded, but Pathfinder's pick rate dropped from 23% the day before Season 5 launched to 11.5% as of yesterday, which is about half of his player base moving on to a different character. I would assume that they're playing Loba now, but we're going to try to fix this problem as well as introduce a new passive ability. I asked you guys in one of my videos about 2 days ago to leave some ideas for passives, and some of them were pretty cool. I saw people talking about how they think you should be able to grapple death boxes in order to get your teammates' banners, or be able to pull certain items with your grapple. I even saw some people saying that you should be able to grapple to something and hang in place, which is a really interesting idea. I never even thought of that, other than that one legend that we talked about in the Rate My Legend series way long ago, and I promise I'm working on a second part of that series. I have to Photoshop all of the legends because there's no pictures for them. So that's coming as well. But the one that really caught my eye, and one that I think would actually work really well, is Pathfinder being able to cut his own zip lines as well as other Pathfinder zip lines. Now, zip lines that are already around the map wouldn't be able to be cut, since those are crucial for certain rotations, and honestly, you could just get troll Pathfinders who would land solo and go around and cut all of the map zip lines just to be annoying. So I don't think you should be able to do that. But the reason that I think this passive is fair and balanced is because a lot of the concerns that people were responding with is that Pathfinder could get his team up to a spot that you can't normally reach and then cut the zip line and nobody would be able to get up there. But I have a couple solutions for that. And when I say solutions, I just mean reasons why that doesn't actually make sense. And if Pathfinder cuts his zip line and anyone on his team falls off of that area, they're sitting ducks. The rest of their team is on top of a mountain or on top of a building or structure, and they're on the bottom, and they're going to have to wait for the zip line to get back up before they can get back to their team. Additionally, there are now 2 characters who could reach them to knock them off. You would have Pathfinder after we fix him, and then you'd also have Loba with her bracelet. So I'm not really too concerned with characters getting to places that no one can reach them without a zip line, because as I mentioned, there are plenty of alternatives now, and both Loba and Pathfinder are very good characters. Pathfinder just needs to be fixed up a little bit. So thank you to everybody who responded with creative ideas for a new passive for Pathfinder. The one that I saw the most frequently was people saying that he should be able to use zip lines faster. And that didn't really make sense to me. There's also one I saw for him to be able to heal while he's on the zip line, and that one actually is really interesting, but I don't think it would be very useful at all, because nowadays people have gotten so good at tracking on zip lines that if you're not like doing the jump trick where you're like hopping to the left and the right and underneath and above and upside down and in a circle, you're just going to get annihilated on the zip line. So if you're going in a straight line healing, you're probably going to get destroyed. Now for his tactical, which is the main issue right now, I honestly think that if the devs just brought the time on his zipline from 35 seconds down to 20, they would completely fix his character at the moment. And then with the passive that we introduced, he would be pretty set for after the perk system as well. However, I really don't think the devs are going to do that. Now, after this buff comes out, or this rework, or whatever they decide to do with him, feel free to come back here and roast me if all they do is bring the timer down a little bit. I think you are actually going to see them increase the cooldown time from 35 seconds to 40 seconds per grapple, but they're going to give him 2 grapples, which means every 80 seconds he would have 2 grapples, but they would both be at his disposal for whenever he needs 2 in a row. Kind of like you have with Bangalore's smoke, where you can just spam her smoke, but it's going to leave your team flat out of luck for quite a while if you decide to do that. And I do like when the devs do this kind of stuff with abilities, because it makes the player have to have some sense of self-control, in that while they have the ability to just spam their tactical, if they do that, it's going to leave their team at a disadvantage. So that's my rework for his tactical, and some of your ideas for his passive. I think his ultimate is actually in a really good spot. I always have thought that he's had a really great ultimate ability. Something that I would be curious about is, since as Wraith you can no longer portal outside circle, I wonder if the devs are ever going to implement a system where if your zipline is completely out of circle, it gets destroyed after a certain amount of time. It's always been kind of funny to me how certain abilities don't work outside ring, but other ones do. Like how Bangalore's passive ability doesn't kick up when she takes ring damage. You can't use Lifeline's Dock Drone outside of ring. You can't put portals outside ring. But other abilities work totally fine. Like you can use Crypto's drone to go outside of ring and get banners and stuff. But if it were up to me, I would leave Pathfinder's zipline completely alone. I think it's in a really good spot right now. If anything, maybe make the distance just a tiny bit bigger. But those are my thoughts for how we can fix Pathfinder. I'm really curious if you guys have similar views on this, or if you think that Pathfinder should go in a different direction. So please do let me know down in the comments. I try my best to get to as many comments as I can. It's been a little bit harder lately. There's been quite a few comments on these last videos, but I do try my best, so I appreciate everybody who comments. Now, if you're not part of the club and you would like to join, you can scroll down and hit that red subscribe button, and even ring the bell if you want. I do post every single day of the week, so you don't want to miss any of them to stay up to date with Apex. But that's going to do it for this video. I'll be back with you guys again tomorrow, as always. But until then, take it easy.